You've built a business you believe in. You've poured time, energy, and years of expertise into creating a product or program or service you're proud of. But now the words to sell it feel like a mountain you are trying to climb blind. And hiring a copywriter sounds both freeing and terrifying. Why? Because the last thing you want is to hand off your voice and get back something that sounds nothing like you, right? Well, if you've ever wondered how to vet a conversion copywriter, this episode is for you. We're going to walk through the key questions to ask before you invest. Plus, I'll pull back the curtain on exactly how I work with clients. Welcome to Seven Figure Copy, the show where I teach you how to create powerful strategic messaging so you can attract high-paying clients and scale your business to the next level with ease. I'm Gina Whitehouse, your expert conversion copywriter, and this podcast is for ambitious, value-driven female entrepreneurs like you who are ready to scale from 6 to 7 figures without sacrificing what matters most: your values, your time, and your family. In each episode, we'll dive into the art of crafting persuasive words for high-converting websites and sales pages, and you'll learn strategic copy techniques so you attract premium clients and boost your revenue. This podcast was created to help you tackle the challenges of balancing family life and business growth as you take your business to the next level. If you're ready to add a trusted partner to your team, making sure your message is compelling, consistent, and impactful, then you're in the right place. Hey, everybody. I am Gina Whitehouse, the host of the Seven Figure Copy podcast, and I am so glad that you are here with me today, that you have taken the time to listen and put me in your ears. So today we're going to talk about all kinds of questions that you should ask before you partner with a copywriter for your business. So let's just get into question one right away. Here it is. First question you should ask before you decide to work with this copywriter or that copywriter is, what kind of copy do you specialize in? Why? Because not all copywriters write conversion copy. Not all copywriters are created equal. So writing a brand bio or a blog post is not the same as writing a high converting sales page. So if you go back to episode 32, it was a Q&A episode where I actually answered the question, what's the difference between a conversion copywriter and a regular copywriter? So if you haven't listened to that, go back because I go into this more in depth. But copywriters that write just general copy, it could be copy for books, it could be essays, it could be blog posts. Most of the time, though, it's educational, okay? But conversion copy is different because you're trying to get someone to say yes to your product, program, or service or your offer, okay? So that's when you're going to want to work with a conversion copywriter. They're going to write your sales page, emails, it could be ads, a checkout page, your website copy. These are the things that you want to partner with a conversion copywriter to write because you want to spark action. So if you're hiring someone to help you with like a group program that you want to launch, you have a service you want to sell, you need a sales page written, then you need someone who understands strategy, psychology, and buyer behavior. And that is what a copywriter, a conversion copywriter, understands. So for instance, here's what I, as a conversion copywriter, specialize in. I specialize in writing copy that positions you as the go-to expert and converts those casual visitors into interested leads who eventually, right, we want them to say yes. I also specialize in writing sales and nurture email sequences. These are emails, again, that are going to lead someone to say yes. So you're going to want a conversion copywriter to write a sequence of emails for whether it's like a new person coming into your funnel and you want them to get to know you, but still there's going to be an element in there, a conversion element where you want to lead that person maybe to a small low ticket offer so they can get to know you, or even just the small conversion of getting them from in your email to your website or from your emails to your sales pages. Okay. So that would be like a nurture email sequence. A sales email sequence is specifically purposely trying to get that person from email 1 to, let's say you have a sales sequence, email sequence of 10 emails. You want to get them somewhere from that first email to maybe not even the end, but you want them to buy somewhere in that sequence, right? You want them either to buy on email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or email 10. Okay. And then another thing I specialize in is doing copy audits. So someone may come to me, they may already have a sales page written, but it's not converting. And so they're like, Gina, I just need you to audit my sales page. So I do that for anything really, sales pages, websites, even if you have an email sequence and you're like, it's not giving me the traction I need. That's something that someone would come to me. I would look at it and then give you feedback. So anything that goes into selling your product, your program, or your service, any kind of offer, that's what I specialize in writing. So if you're launching something soon, or you know that your current copy isn't pulling the weight that it should, then I'm your person. I'm that person that you would partner with to give that second eye, give you that feedback, and write that asset that you need so that someone will purchase what you have to offer. Question number 2 that you should ask is, do you have a proven process for researching and writing a sales page? Or even I would go further, if you're going to have someone write your website copy, again, you would still ask this question: what's your proven process for researching and writing website copy? So this is really a make or break question, because good copy isn't just well written, it's well researched. And this is huge because the research process, it actually protects you. A good conversion copywriter shouldn't just be winging it. They should have a clear framework for these 4 things. They should have a clear framework for interviewing your past clients or customers, those really happy ones that want to rave about you. They should have a framework for doing that. They should have a framework for digging into customer language, like finding out what is the language that your customer or client is speaking, so that they can take that language and bring it back into your website copy or your sales page copy, into your emails, so that when someone lands on it, they automatically think, how did she get in my head? Like, how did she know that? All right. They should also have a clear framework for understanding your offer. How are they going to understand what it is that they are writing for, right? And then they should have a clear framework for really positioning the transformation that your customer or client is going to have by purchasing your thing. They should have a framework for figuring out how to position that in many ways, like even just psychologically, when someone hits that sales page and comes all the way down, they should have a framework that is going to position your thing that you're selling, your service, your program, in a way that it shows the transformation that that person's going to have when they buy it. So I have a lot of frameworks for these things, in case you're curious. In fact, when I have a new client that works with me, I immediately give them the extensive intake questionnaire, and my clients like to joke about it. The lovingly, whatever. I had one client called it, what was it? The loving questionnaire. It is long, but every time, I won't say every time, a lot of times when someone sits down and actually fills out all the questions, they're like, wow, you really made me think about some things that I have never thought about before. So it's very, very important. And this questionnaire, it covers your offer, it covers your audience, what your values are, what your goals are, everything I need to get inside your head. I even want to know, like, what words do you like to say? What words do you never say? Those kind of things. So I find out so much from that questionnaire. And then after that, we hop on a 1-hour recorded Zoom session where I go deeper. So we dig into your story, your strengths, your fears about even the copy. It's very collaborative, strategic, and it's actually kind of fun. I think it's fun, of course. But anything from that questionnaire that you have answered that I just need a little bit more information about, we go through that on the Zoom question or Zoom session, sorry. And then most importantly, I personally interview 3 of your happiest clients or customers. Now, this last step is huge because I don't, send you a script and then expect you to chase people down. No, I do the interviews for you. And this is really where the gold lives, because your clients, they already have the exact language that your future buyers need to hear. So I turn that interview, that time that I spend with them, I turn it into testimonials. We turn it into story-based proof and messaging that mirrors their desires and the future desires of, or the desires of your future buyers. Because here's the thing, your copywriter, she or he needs to understand your voice and the voice of your clients too. It's a mixture of the two to get the most high converting copy because, there's a time when we all need to just step out of our own heads, right? And see our work through the lens of the people we serve. And it's very hard to just do that ourselves. It just leaves us guessing, which I think I'm going to talk about later on. I got to look at my notes here that I have in front of me. But guessing is not good. We want to be sure about what people are thinking, what their desires are, what their pain points are, and we want to mirror that in the copy to get it to be the most high converting copy for that precious thing you put together that you've put all that effort into. And when you're ready to put it out there, we want it to sell. So the next question you might want to ask is, what's your approach to capturing someone's voice? So if you've ever read a piece of copy someone wrote for you and thought, this does not sound like me, you are not alone. This matters so much, especially for people like you who said, I'm afraid of working with a copywriter because it won't sound like me. So if a writer doesn't have a specific way of studying your tone and pulling out signature phrases, then that's a problem because sounding like you, but strategically is part of what makes your copy believable. So this kind of ties back into what I was just talking about, right? Like when I go through the whole questionnaire with my clients and then we hop on the Zoom chat and dig into it more, this allows me to capture that person's voice. And here's something that not all copywriters do, but again, you want to ask, okay? You want to make sure that they are studying everything that you're willing to give them. So like when someone works with me, I ask them to give them everything they're willing to give me. It might be even Instagram captions. It could be videos of them, of my client, emails they've written, webinars they've given. If they have a podcast, I want to start listening to those podcast episodes, right? I'm listening for the patterns in your tone, the pace of your voice, the phrases, and even your values, right? It comes out in what you write. So then when I write the draft, it's your voice. It's not mine. I mean, I can think of specific clients right now where I've sat down and wrote their sales page. And as I'm writing it, like I am literally hearing their voice in my head, and then I read through it again with their voice because I know them so well. So making sure that that person has an actual process of how they're going to capture their voice is important. So I actually had a client last year who came to me just 3 months after hiring another copywriter to write some of their website copy because their website copy sounded actually like the tone of that copywriter and not them. So that other copywriter skipped the research. She skipped the interviews. She skipped the voice deep dive. And I know this because my client told me that what I was doing for them, that this other copywriter wasn't doing at all. So the result of that, unfortunately, is that my client had to pay twice to get it rewritten, but now she has great copy for that page on her website. If you've ever thought, I know my offer helps people, but I'm not sure if my sales page is motivating people to buy, I want you to know right now that you are not alone. Let's get you from second guessing every word to selling your service, product, or program with confidence and clarity ASAP. Today, I'm inviting you to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat with me to find out whether you need a strategic copy audit of your existing sales page or if you need a newly written, high-converting, done-for-you sales page. Let's make your offer sell easier, attract the right fit people, and make them think, how did she get in my head? Go to the show notes to book your call today or go to my website at whitehousesm.com. The fourth question that you want to ask is, how do you make sure the copy connects with my audience? Now, this is really where conversion copy shines, okay? It's not just about being clever. It's about being clear, relevant, and emotionally resonant. Here's how I make sure the copy connects with my clients, okay? I pull direct voice of customer language from those interviews. Again, we're going back to those interviews. Like, you got to have a copywriter who is at least willing to do that. You might be at the point where you're like, I know my ideal client so well, I don't need you to interview my clients. And I have had clients tell me that before, and that's fine. But what I'm saying here is at least find a copywriter who, if you need that done, that they are willing to do it, okay? I also make sure, again, to just match your tone and delivery with your audience's level of awareness, right? We want to know where are they in the buying process? How, or not the buying process, that's not the right word, the awareness process of that need that they have, right? So if you're selling something, do they know they need it already? Do they need to be educated a little bit first, right? So I want to make sure that I know where they're at in that level of awareness and then match the tone of the copy to that. And the other thing is and this again just goes back to doing the research. As a copywriter, I want to completely understand what that transformation is that your offer is going to give your client or customer. And then I want to align that transformation that your offer creates with the transformation that your audience actually wants. So we're thinking about the buyer's journey at every step. Okay. So again, it just goes back to making sure that you're going to work with a copywriter who is willing to ask the right questions. In fact, I had a client recently and she said to me, I have it written down here. She said, Gina knew how to ask the questions that will pull things out of me. I didn't even realize that I was holding back. The copy sounded like me, but elevated, and it was strategic and sharp. It did exactly what it needed to do. So finding someone who's just willing to do that research and ask those questions is so important. The next question you should ask is, what's your timeline and revision process like? This is a fair question, and every one of you should be asking this, okay? You want transparency here. You want to know what to expect. So, what happens if your copy needs tweaks, right? Every time I write copy, does it always 100% like hit it on the nail? No. I won't say that I've ever had anything less than 99.5% though. What I mean by that is, I've never had a client come back and ask me to like completely rewrite anything. If anything, it's just been like maybe a couple sentences here or there. It shouldn't ever come back as a full rewrite, right? Because we've done that research. So anyways, but in reality, sometimes things need to be tweaked. So you should ask, like, what is the revision process? What if there's a little something that I need tweaked? Is it included, right? And what's the turnaround time? You want to know what's the turnaround time, obviously, for the original copy, for the first draft. And then you want to know what the turnaround time is also for the revisions, and actually how many, you also want to ask, like, how many rounds of revisions too that you're going to get. Okay. So the idea here is you just want clear expectations, good communication. When you have those clear expectations and great communication, then you're going to have a very smooth collaboration. So for instance, in most of my services, I build in 2 rounds of revisions, and that's usually for every done for you copy project. That's where you're just handing it off to me and I'm running the whole thing for you. Okay. Done for you copy. So my goal for you isn't just finished copy. It's copy that you feel confident using and especially proud to publish, right? I want every client that works for me to be proud of what they get and to put it out into the world. I don't want people to feel cringy about it. If you go back to episode, I think it's 31, the one where I, had a conversation with Kelly Learden, who's one of my clients, and she talked about that the sales page that she had for her group program, the one that she had written for herself, that, it was patchwork together. She put it out there, but she felt cringy every single time she put it out because she knew that her sales page did not actually match the level and the caliber of her program. So we want to get you to the point where you are proud to put out that sales page or the website copy you have, or send out those emails. I want you to feel proud about it. I want you to feel proud that it absolutely matches the caliber of what you offer. All right, we are almost done with the questions here, but this is an important one. And I think this is one that a lot of people forget about. And actually, when people come to me, many don't even ask me for this, but when we do our initial 30-minute complimentary copy chat, if they don't ask me, I come out and would you like to see some examples from my portfolio, right? A lot of people don't ask this. So you should ask for examples from their portfolio, okay? You're not just hiring someone for pretty words, right? You're hiring for performance. So ask for samples from their portfolio. You have every right to ask of this. Don't be embarrassed. Just ask, okay? You want to look for proof that they've helped people like you sell offers like yours with integrity. All right. So for instance, for myself, I have a portfolio of sales pages, of website copy. I have a portfolio of different types of emails that I've written in a range of tones and styles, from formal and polished to friendly and conversational. So even if let's say you contact me and you're like, Gina, I really would like to talk to you about writing the sales page for my new offer. Well, after we're done, I would email you, and I'm not just even going to show you examples of sales pages. I might even give you emails to look at in homepage copy that I've written, so you can get a feel of my range and the different tones that I've written in. Seriously, I have written things that are very, very like professional, like that you would see in a catalog or something, right? And to the other end of the spectrum, very conversational, funny, whatever, right? So I like to show each of my clients that I can do all those different things so that they can kind of trust more that I can mold my writing to write exactly how they sound. So don't forget to ask. Just don't forget. All right. Lastly, I have a bonus question. Here's the question. What if I'm scared to let go of control? This isn't something that you would actually ask your copywriter, but this might be a question that you ask yourself. What if I'm scared to let go of control? Okay, so let me guess. You're the kind of person who built your business with a lot of heart, grit, and many late nights. I know I have I have built my business in the same way. Okay. So you know your offer like the back of your hand, and you're used to writing your own stuff, even if it takes forever. But here's the thing, okay? And I've said this before, if you listen to other podcast episodes, you are very close to your offer, okay? You're so close, you're so in it, right? You're like in the jar and you can't see the label on the outside. You're so close to it that I know it can seem scary to hand it off to someone else. And it can also seem, how do I put it into words? We'll just say, I guess it's easy to say, like, I've said this myself, like, it's just easier for me to do it myself, right? How many times? I mean, I've done this so many times where I just think, well, I can hand this off to someone else, but it's easier for me to do it myself. But then I find myself spending lots and lots of hours doing it, right? Because a lot of that's just rooted into, okay, yeah, the fear of handing it off, but also the fact that I know that thing inside and out, right? You know your offer, you know your group program, you know your service, your product inside and out. But the thing is that you know it so inside out, you know all the 100 layers that have gone into it, that it's very hard to step back and write at that, let's say like more macro level, or I don't know if that's even the right way to describe it, to write at that level where that new person who's just going to see it for the first time is going to really connect with it in the way that they should connect with it, where they see the transformation that they want and the desires in that, right? It's kind of hard to write that way because you're so in it. For instance, sometimes when I have clients who, let's just take like a health and fitness coach, for example, a client who's a health and fitness coach. There's a lot of like science that's actually part of that, right? And so naturally that person wants to inform and educate. I'm very much the same way, where I like to inform and educate and teach. Hence why I do this podcast in a way, because I like to teach, right? And so I don't want to lose my train of thought here. Oh, okay. Back to the health fitness coach. Yes. So the thing with that is sometimes it's very easy to get into the scientific jargon of stuff, the technical language, right? But that person who's coming to you, they don't really care about the technical stuff. They just want to know how it's going to help them. They want to know what they're going to get from the thing that they're buying or the service they're going to get from you. Okay. So being able to step away from this and have someone write it and get out of that jar is really, really important. So again, going back to all these questions I've asked, if you're at that point where you're ready to hand it off, even though it sounds scary, ask these questions to that copywriter that you were thinking about working with, and it will ease your fears. I'm telling you, just don't forget to ask the questions. Okay. When you hire a copywriter, you're not losing control. Instead, you're bringing a partner onto your team. It should be collaborative. Okay. And the best part about that is now that you don't have to spend all those hours writing copy yourself. Now you get to show up as the expert that you are, and you get to do those things in your business that really drive it forward. Okay. So there's so many benefits to working with a conversion copywriter. As a client of mine just said, she told me, she goes, I don't think I'd ever let someone else write my copy but me, but now I'll never go back. That's what she said after working together, which was just wonderful to hear her say, because I know that there was fear going into it in the beginning. But then we worked together, we partnered together, we worked through it. And when she got it back, she was very happy. And again, she's like, I'll never go back. If you'd actually like to know more about what it's like to work with me from the client point of view, if you go onto your favorite podcast platform of choice, the one you're on right now, and you look up The Business of Good with Jan Ditchfield. Jan is a client of mine, and she has an episode called Why I'll Never Write My Own Sales Copy Again. I believe it's episode 60, and she talks about the process of us working together. It was really, really cool to listen to. It was just really cool. It was really, really neat. And it was so fun working with her. She's an amazing client of mine. And in that episode, she shares what it was like to finally let go of writing her own copy and trusting me as her conversion copywriter for an upcoming launch of her new group program. So before I go, I want to recap our questions. Okay, these are the questions that you should ask a conversion copywriter before you work together. Number 1, do they specialize in conversion copy? 2, what's their research process like? Number 3, how do they capture their voice? How are they going to do that? What framework do they use? 4, how do they plan to connect with your audience? 5, ask them about the revision process and the timeline for getting the copy done. And 6, ask if you can see samples of copy they've written for other clients. And then I would say, trust your gut and look for a partner. You're not looking for someone that you're just going to hire. You're looking for someone who's going to partner with you and help you make the thing that you've put so much time and effort into a success. Lastly, before we go, I want to remind you of the Yes Vault. If you haven't unlocked that yet, it's a really great source of high converting copy examples. So if you're also kind of at the point where you're not sure, you're like, well, is my copy high converting enough? Is this where the sticky point is because my product, service, offer, it's not selling? Go and unlock that. It's only $14 and you're going to get 3 short video breakdowns showing you before and afters. The befores are the not so good copy, and then the after is the high converting copy, okay? You're also going to get notes from every single one of these episodes. So if you want to keep a binder of different tips and tricks and things, you can print that out and have it all in one spot. So thank you so much for joining me today. Next week's episode is going to be along the same vein, but we're going to talk more about the red flags to look for when hiring a copywriter. So stay tuned. I can't wait to see you then. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of 7-Figure Copy. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star review on your favorite platform and follow me on Instagram for more insights. Can you think of one female entrepreneur or small business owner right now who could benefit from listening to this podcast? Please share this episode with them. And if you're ready to hand off the copy for your website, emails, and sales pages, head over to www.whitehousesm.com to book a complimentary copy chat with me. Let's partner together to take your business to the next level.